All right, Ben.
All right, the next question is, what's your favorite moment as an actor or voice actor? I know getting your makeup done was pretty great.
That
Do you
was
have any
pretty
others?
awesome. My favorite moment as an actor or a voice actor, oh gosh, there's a lot of them. Because there's byproducts. I will say the most amazing moment, and when it happens different times, is when I'm acting and I don't know I'm acting. When I'm so in the moment that I'm not in the moment. I'm I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm doing it. And by the time the director, stops us, or we end a scene, or a moment, or a song ends that I'm performing on stage, and suddenly the audience applauds. I come to and go, oh my, oh right, I'm here. Oh, or the director says, okay, that was great. And you go, what? Oh right, there's a director here. We're acting. We just did a scene. It's kind of that
The feeling
unconscious.
of getting into flow
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
it.
feeling.
That's it. Being in the flow and being unconscious, and just doing, being being and doing without a thought of what you're doing. So there's no form of manipulation. There is no acting, and acting is being. And when that happens, it's always the best. Um, so that is my answer. And fortunately, that's something that happens over time and time again, whether I'm voice acting, acting on stage, doing a Q&A panel with an audience, even doing this Q&A with you guys. If I listen to this back later, I may hear something I said or did and go, where did that come from? But I don't know that
I
there's any one moment. I've worked with some wonderful people, but I'll just say this. Here's an interesting story. I was doing a convention appearance called Emerald City Con some years ago, and there's an area where the talent, they call us the talent, the celebrities, if you will, are in an area called the green room, where we get to eat and relax. And I found myself at this one moment having lunch with Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart,
Huh?
and it was wonderful because we both just had a conversation. We ate and we talked for a good half an hour, and we joked around, and it was just two guys. You know, it wasn't. Uh, it was just two guys. Where anybody else might have been like, "Oh my God, it's it's Picard, it's Picard, it's Jean-Luc Picard." It's, "Oh my God, what do what do you do? What do you say?" Or maybe my fear, as anybody else's, would be like, "Why will he even bother talking to me?" Do I have to be at a certain level to talk to him? And no, it's just two guys with common interests having a great chat. So I'll say that as a byproduct, because we weren't working together. We were having lunch, and we were at the convention for the same reason, but we hadn't met before, nor have I seen him since. But I hope to.
Sounds wonderful. He's such a sweet person, from what
He
I've
really
gathered.
is. Oh, he is.
I have since we've done a decent number from the chat, I'm gonna ask one or two more from the post real quick.
Yeah, anything you want. It's all cool.
So, the next question was, what is the weirdest thing that a fan has asked you to sign at an autograph event?
Oh, yeah, I've been asked this before, and I answered it one time. One time I said it was a baby's forehead, but I don't know if that's actually true or if that's something I made up. Um, Let me think. Strange. That there, I don't know. I signed. God, I've signed all kinds of different body parts with ink, living attached to them. I've signed.
Oh,
I remember
thankfully.
one time there were three young people with low top Converse sneakers, and they wanted me to sign them, so I signed them. Um, I've signed plushies. I've signed posters. I'm trying to think if I've ever signed any food. I don't think so, but it's possible. Um, yeah, I don't know.
You actually, when I met you at AAC back in 2008,
Uh-huh.
you actually were sitting next to Chris Sabat, I believe,
Okay.
and he
Chrissy?
signed a can of spray cheese.
Yes, that's correct. He did.
So
Yeah,
that was that was
that was unusual. That was unusual. And yeah, certainly. I mean, I've signed a box of Pocky. I know that. Gosh, I've probably forgotten, to be honest. I can't I can't even think. Fortunately,
Have
yeah.
you ever signed a fan fiction?
I don't think so. I think I would remember that because I think they would tell me, "Hey, this is my fan fiction." In fact, I've never seen any of the fan fiction that's been done. I assume they've been done about some of the characters I voiced. But I've never seen. The only fan fiction I've ever been exposed to is that of oh gosh, Albert Wesker from is it Resident Evil? My friend DC Douglas, because he does a show whenever he appears at conventions that incorporates fan fiction. In fact, he had asked fans to send him fan fiction, and so he does it live, and then he also does maybe a few pages that he wrote himself, and then he has visuals up of the characters. And so I've gone up with him to do his Albert Wesker to his Albert Wesker, and as I'm reading the fan fiction stuff, I remember the first time I said to him, I go, where did you get this? He's like, the fans. That's why it's called fan fiction. And I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, for real? He said, yeah. I'm like, wow, okay. These fans are more advanced than I thought they were, and just as filthy, if not more so than myself. So there you go.
You actually have signed a fan fiction.
I have?
You signed my fan fiction when I was 14 years old.
How old were you?
14.
So then, well, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. Was it how advanced was it?
It was an actual book.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
you signed an actual book.
Jeez, Louise. And did you tell me it was yours, that you wrote it?
Yes.
Well, I'm sure I was impressed.
Well, you opened to a page and I immediately slammed it shut in your hands.
And what did I do?
You laughed at me. But...
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
To be fair,
because I wanted to see what was inside. Is that it?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, well, there you go. Well, that's me.
So
I do have a question in regards to that. What are your thoughts on fan works, fan fiction, fan art, cosplays, things like that?
Well, like I said, on fan fiction, I mean, I've never read anything that any of my characters have been in, so I can't have a comment on it because I don't have an experience with it. So I don't know. I mean, the Albert Wesker stuff is, kind of just distorted, just strange and semi-disturbing, and not really. As an actor, I think I've seen it all. I've heard it all. Also, I've read it all. So I don't have an opinion on it. I mean, if they're creative and they like what they're doing, that's great. Fan art, was that another one? Fan fiction? What'd you say?
fan art.
Fan art. I've seen some terrific fan art, and some fans have been kind enough to bring me some at conventions. I think that's great. Anyway, any way you express yourself is terrific.
And cosplay was the other thing.
Cosplay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cosplay in general is great. I love it. I think it's great. I've seen a couple mashups that have been interesting, but overall, I think what I'm amazed is I started touring, oh God, how many, 10, 11 years ago. It was the first time I appeared at a convention. I think maybe it was 2006. I thought it was 2008, but so it's like 12 years ago. I appeared in Chicago. I had never been to a convention. I didn't know anybody even knew who I was. And I showed up and, people were waving. And I turned around thinking they were waving at someone behind me, and they were waving at me. And not only did they recognize me, but then a friend of mine started pointing out, like, hey, look, that guy's dressed, like Axel. Okay, there's Reno over there. Hey, there's, and I was like, what is this? Why is everyone dressed up? And they said, well, this is cosplay. I go, cosplay? And they said, yeah, it's short for costume play. And I said, oh, right. I go, this is like Halloween or like Mardi Gras or something. I said, this is quite the event. This is like it's like the conventions, like the Star Trek conventions. I said, yeah. And so this is kind of cool. And so then, I started the learning process of how this was a whole world and a subculture that people get into. And I totally get it because, for me, I growing up was a huge Beatle fan, and I still am. I love all the music of the Beatles, and I've read everything I could get my hands on. And I've played Paul McCartney. I've played Sir Paul McCartney in a few movies, and I've done his voice for a number of projects. So I know what it's like to dress up and feel a kinship to a certain person or character, and that's why when I see fans doing it, I admire it and I respect them for it. And I'm also amazed at what lengths they're able to go to make it look so professional.
Or did you want to ask any more questions from the post, or is it back to me?
I have one more, and then we can go back to you. Of all of the companies that you've done voice work for, like Square Enix, Funimation, stuff like that, is there any company that you find you have the best experience working for?
Oh, uh-oh. Are you there? Van disappeared.
He's fine. He'll probably be fine.
Okay. Gosh, I don't know. Every company's been fine, really. It depends on the people who are involved when we're working together. So far, my experiences have been wonderful with everyone. Usually the director sets the tone, and I haven't been disappointed by any director I've worked with yet. And as long as everybody's on the same page, it's all groovy. So, yeah, I'm always happy. I'm always happy. I can't say that I really favor one over the other. They've all been terrific.
Scroll back.
I guess I'm very fortunate in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
I will say also, outside of the gaming genre, I was very fortunate for 3 seasons to narrate a show called I'd Kill for You on the Investigation Discovery Channel, which they may or may not be replaying. That's possible they are. If not, it's on YouTube. And that was produced by NBC Universal Peacock Productions. And I worked with a wonderful producer out of New York City named Lloyd Fales. And he's a brilliant guy and a sweetheart of a guy, and one I've been able to build a friendship with. So I would say, their company was terrific. And then as far as directors go, I'll just say, many of the directors I've worked with in animation and video games have been able to work for different companies because they oftentimes are freelancers as well. So I love Chris Zimmerman is terrific, and Jamie Simone is wonderful, and I'm going to leave all kinds of people out. I will. Colette Sunderman, Ginny McSwain, Jamie Mortello. I can go on and on, but actually at the moment I can't because I'm drawing a blank. But yeah.
All right. Lots of good people in the industry, it seems.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, Seth Green from Robot Chicken. He's so much fun. Yeah.
So I scrolled back then because you died. So I have the questions from the chat. Yami asked, what were your thoughts when you noticed, or if you really had any epiphany when of Axel and Reno looking very similar?
I didn't even. I don't know. It's going to sound strange, but I didn't notice it. I didn't think anything of it. Really, it wasn't until the fans started pointing it out, and I just kind of went, well, but they both have red hair, okay, and they both are dressed in black, okay. But because to me they're distinctly different. The only thing they have in common is that and me as the voice actor. Mm-hmm. But doing the acting, they are, they are different enough. Like I said, when people ask, I said, well, Reno is really the comic relief in Final Fantasy. He is. He's the comic relief. He's kind of like, as I always said, I love playing Spider-Man, or I love Spider-Man because he was kind of the first sardonic or stand-up superhero. Reno to me, is much in the same way. He can be a smart ass, he can be sarcastic and funny, but when push comes to shove, he's going to do the job and make it happen. Whereas Axel, and again, Reno, he's, I don't want to say he's limited in range, but you know what you're getting with Reno. With Axel, he goes almost like I was talking about Raiden before. Huge range of emotion. And maybe because we've had more times, more games, more series, more settings, more scenes, and opportunities to explore that range of emotions with Axel. But you know, there's a lot more going on with that character, so he is different, and I don't think you're ever going to hear him deliver a line like Reno would, although he does have a sense of humor.
I do love when characters that have similarities are acted extremely differently, and I'm glad that you actually do go out of your way to portray them that way.
Yeah, I hope they sound different enough. I mean,
They
I think,
do. They really
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I do. I'm a teacher, and I use Fandom Works to teach points. So I actually do character analysis as part of what I do, and I've done analyses on Reno versus Axel. So
Oh, right on.
so
Where
I'm glad that the person behind the character also views it that way. So
yeah, absolutely. And that way, if you're teaching your students and they disagree with you, you can say, well,
well,
get,
I have this little recording right here.
yeah.
But otherwise,
I spoke to the man himself, and he and I are on the same page. So sorry, you disagreed.
so Liam asked who your favorite Sonic character is.
Well, that would be Silver.
Silver's the best. Also,
Yeah,
Blaze. Blaze is also great.
yeah. And
And
probably Sonic would be my second favorite because without Sonic, there wouldn't have been a series for me to be involved in.
do you ever see any criticism to you or any of the other actors for the like gameplay issues of Sonic 06?
I've heard, oh, you know, there've been the occasional fan who's made a disparaging remark when they come up to ask me for an autograph. But I, it doesn't bother me. I go, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, I've heard it
Because
before.
it's not your responsibility that the game itself was broken. You delivered a fantastic performance either way, so
Oh,
I
thank
don't know
you.
what they're complaining about.
I don't either, but people love to complain. Not everybody, but some people love to complain, and and they love to think that they're the first person who came up with that complaint. But that's usually when I say, "Oh, the complaints department is actually across the street. You'll want to go talk to maybe Crispin Freeman about that or Vic Magnana." That was
So
that's a joke. I just made it up. I really have no idea what I'm talking about. I just thought I'd throw out a couple actors' names there, as you would imagine someone.
Don't complain to Vic Mignogna. He's lonely.
There you go. You said it. I didn't. Yeah. It'd be great. He'd be sitting there like kind of like Lucy in the Charlie Brown series, complaints, 2 cents.
The Sonic 06 complaint department. The doctor is in.
There you go. Yeah. Your
There we go.
complaint, and because of inflation, maybe complaints would be $2. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Cadet asked if you had any particular inspiration for Axel/Lee's voice, or if you were going more for something that fit your normal speaking voice to make it easier on you.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't. No, I didn't do anything that would make it easier on me. Usually, what happens when I'm brought in to audition for a character, as happened in this role, is I read the specs of the character, the age, the description, and then I kind of roll out with what I've come up with. I'll get and on a callback, as I believe happened in this situation, I go with what I'm redirected to do by the director, and once they find the take or takes they like, they say thank you, and then I leave the building. And then once I'm hired and I come back in the studio, they play back for me the takes they like the best. And then I go, oh, okay, I did that. And then I have to recreate what I did. So the answer is I create from, again, that place and that moment where once I'm out of my head and into the moment, that once it hits that sweet spot and they know what they want, they've heard what they want, and I've done it, then I, it's kind of like hitting a home run over the fence. Boom, I knocked that one out of the park. I went over the left field fence. They're like, that's great. Give us another one. I took a few swings at it. Boom, I hit it again. That one went out of the park over the center field fence. Terrific. Can we do another one? Try it this way. And so I wait for the pitch, and maybe I swing a little later. I'm a right-handed batter, so boom, I hit the ball, and it goes out over the right field fence for another homer. And they're like, okay, great. We have 3 great takes we like. We'll see you. Thanks for coming in. And then they'll listen to those takes later on against the takes of other characters. And they may say, we want to go with Quinton. Let's go with take 2, which might be the home run over the center field wall. And that's what they go with. And then they, like I said, they report it back to me. And I'm like, wow, I vaguely remember doing that. Okay, let's go for it. And then, like I said, it just turns out that it sounds more like me than a lot of other characters I do, which is a gift. And I would say because of Reno, Axel, and Raiden, and Iruka Sensei, the gift is because I've been able to do these characters who are closer to my natural voice, my bass tone, if you will, my home base, to keep up with the baseball analogy, then people are getting a sense of what a Quinton Flynn voice type is. And that's good because, as you have said, and I'm grateful for your compliments, you like my acting and what I do in characters for Reno and Axel and so on. Then in the future, people will want to work with me based on what I bring to the party, based on what they hear inherently in my performance that Quinton Flynn brings to his performance. And they'll know that, well, we got this guy, he can do all this stuff and then some. So it's nice. It's nice to be known, for Quinton Flynn as opposed to just being like an impressionist.
Mm-hmm. I think that's also something I've noticed is been sort of a shift in the industry, is that people like fandoms are becoming more and more interested in what's behind the curtain, so to speak. So
right.
Voice actors are becoming celebrities in their own right and are becoming more public figures than they usually were.
That's true.
So actually a really, really interesting and wonderful shift that opens up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I really am, because as we know, with the on-camera actors who've kind of gone the way of trying to get into the voiceover world, which it's a different skill of acting. I would love for opportunities for me to open up in the on-camera world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do they have any snacks here, Axel?
First in the organization.
Yes. There you go. I like that. Do they have any snacks here? I'm gonna have to remember that. Maybe that'll be my new favorite catchphrase.
Just spend the entirety of Kingdom Hearts 3 with Axel. Every time that Lee would say, got it memorized, just say, are there any snacks here?
Right. Are there any snacks here? Mm-hmm. Oh, so much cursing Easter weekend. Good. Yeah, you're right. No cursing in my Christian server. That's okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think I've cursed yet. I think I cursed once. And why is Roxa saying toaster? I don't get it. Oh, well.
That's the internet filler word for a generic swear.
Oh, right on. Axel number 8.
So the next
next question.
So the next question is from Tabletop, and he's bringing it back to when you mentioned Star Wars Rebels, and he asked if you were in the show, if you're familiar with the characters, what character would you want to play?
I'm not. Oh, right. No, I'm not in the show, as I think we've established. And I've not watched the show, so I can't say who I would want to play. I would probably want to play a character who has not yet been established.
Mm-hmm. Like you were mentioning with the dream role, you would want to be able to bring your own spin to a new character.
Yeah. Now, and I guess I should ask for the fans or Tabletop, what do you think of that Star Wars show? Do you think it's any good? Do you like it?
He specified, or is there any particular like type of character, like a pilot or a Jedi or a Sith, that you would want to be able to build then?
Oh, a Jedi for sure. I would be a wise and powerful Jedi who maybe has an emotional disorder,
That'd
has
be
trouble.
really fun to build.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So Roxy asked if you feel any sort of emotional connection between yourself and Lee or Axel.
Well, it's me, so I would have to say yes. You know, I mean, uh, it as you know, as I am them, so they are me. So we are together emotionally.
That rhymes.
Exactly. That was on purpose.
Good job.
Thank you. Now,
And
people can listen to that and go, "My God, that's deep." Write it down. Write it down.
quote that,
Quote that. Please quote that and make it a meme.
meme that right now.
Meme that right now.
So Sora asked what it's like hearing your own voice in a cutscene.
Oh yeah, the cutscenes or the playthroughs. I'm used to it now. When I first started in voice acting, I think one of the first times I heard my voice and saw it on TV might have been when we did the Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, and
That
I
game.
I was Johnny. Come on, Dad, we got to go find Bandit. And it was like 1996, and I saw it on TV, and I heard my voice come out of his face, and I just didn't get. I was like, what? That's not me. And then I was comparing myself unfairly. You know, I was really hard on myself. I thought I wasn't doing a good job, and but you know that's not the case. It just freaked me out. And then I heard myself on radio commercials because we did a lot of them back then. And again, it sounded odd to me at first. Then I got used to it. So yeah, I'm very much used to hearing my voice now because I've been doing it so long. And as I go back to what I was saying before, I'm so invested in the performances I do with these characters that I really give them my all. And if they want me to do more than one take, usually they'll ask me if it's a short line, they'll ask me to do 3 in a row. So I might do 3 in a row. But no matter how many I do, I give them what I believe I need to infuse it with the best of and the most of, so that ultimately when they select what they select, they're going to be happy and I'm going to be happy. So for the playthroughs, especially if it's a good director and producer and we're on the same page, I would say I'm happy 9 times out of 10, or maybe 9.5 times out of 10. I enjoy it.
And I think that I think that it's really important to enjoy a creative field.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I had it my way, I would, I would have control and dominion over not everything, but most of it. I would be directing myself, and then I would say, oh, we need to change this line, and they would just let me do that. But that's, until I write, direct, and produce my own project, that's not going to happen.
Do you have any trouble keeping up with what's happening in the Kingdom Hearts story?
In the what?
In the overarching Kingdom Hearts plot, do you have difficulty following it?
Well, I do, because I mean I don't follow it, as I said, because I don't play the game. And when we go in to record, they record out of order, non-linear. So I get bits and pieces of the story, but I don't get to see anything else that any of the other characters are doing that doesn't include Axel or Lee. So when I've seen some of the scenes via playthrough or cutscenes, that's when I go, oh, I see, that's what's going on. Or, oh, that's what this other character sounds like, Or who's the actor for that? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's really cool. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I don't know what's going on, really. I don't.
I don't think anyone ever really does.
Yeah, I don't have a clue.
I mean, it makes playing the character easier because no one in the game knows what's going on either.
Is that right? Yeah, okay, good. Thank God.
Do you so are you familiar with the other characters, or do you know just what's directly related to Axel and Lee?
Yeah, I pretty much only know it's related directly to my characters. But when when I hear them, I appreciate them. And I've really, I mean, aside from Roxas, Roxas I've obviously had the most interaction with, which is Jesse McCartney. And I think I know there was some kind of a premiere the first time this game was released. There was some premiere party. I remember this, and I remember passing Jesse McCartney as I was passing through a lot of people, and I thought, oh, that's Jesse McCartney, and he was going one way and I was going another. But I didn't even know at the time that he was Roxas. I had no idea. The game was being released. They were having this party, but none of us had seen anything. And so I didn't, when this is other things people may not know, when I do Axel or Lee, I'm acting alone. I'm not acting with the other actors.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know till after the fact that Jesse and I had, a lot of scenes together. And I went, oh my God, I wish I would have known so we could have talked and said, hey, hey man, what was your experience like? And it's been years and I still haven't run into him. But I think I know he does a great job as well. And in fact, what blew me away was seeing our scenes together, and I got caught up. Let's put it this way: the whole team, all of us have done such a great job that when I was watching the scene between us, it ended, and I went, "Wow, that just happened." And I didn't notice the acting. Nothing sounded out of order. In fact, it sounded like we were in the same scene, talking to one another, reacting in real time at the same time. It flowed. So I thought they really did a great job in selecting in eliciting the performances from us, and then selecting the performances that worked well together.
It does surprise me that they didn't have you guys interact whatsoever, because especially in 358 over 2, all of the performances, especially between Axel and Roxas, are so well timed. They're so well acted. You seem to be bouncing off of each other. So it seems like you're bouncing off of each other, but it's just mind-blowing that you guys did a complete isolation.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And now thinking about it, I do recall that while being in the studio and doing that, they would let me know how much time I had for a particular line. So they have it timed as well. So it's performance, it's timing. I mean, gosh, so many notes they have to take in order for us to make that happen. You're right. It's incredible.
Little magic.
And then, oh gosh, why am I blanking on the other young actor who played Haley Joel Osment? I've yet to meet him. He does a fine job as well. And there's a lot of people. There's a lot of other actors in this game. If you mention their names, then I'd go, oh yeah, I've worked with him before, but not in this game.
There's some notable names are David Gallagher.
I don't know David.
He used to be on soap operas, didn't he?
Yeah, Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, I don't know him. I see dead people. That's right, Rox.
So there's a lot of it's a gigantic cast. Like Jim Cummings had a lot of the Disney roles.
Oh, Jim, yeah, I know Jim very well. I've known him for years. He's a great dude. He's another Ohio native like myself. Wasn't Leonard Nimoy in it as well?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was Master Xehanort.
Yeah, and I actually appeared in a series called Invasion America with Leonard Nimoy many years ago. Oh, David is Riku and Hayden is Kairi. Okay.